Today is about my younger daughter Chloe and about how God has guided her health and also our family.
我今天要见证，就是说我的最小的女儿，第二个女儿，她神怎么带领她，然后带领我们，因为她的情况来带领我们一家的信仰。
So I think many of you have seen my daughter. She's the one that I'm always trying to push in a stroller to get to go to sleep after lunch. Yeah.
可能你们有很多人看到我下午的时间都会在那里推车，推我的小女儿赶快睡觉。
So actually, when she was born, she was diagnosed with a heart condition called a atrial ventricular septal defect, which is short-term AVSD. It's where there's a hole between the upper two chambers of the heart and also the bottom two chambers of the heart.
我小女儿生出来的时候，她有一个心脏的问题，就是说心脏的上面跟下面都有洞。
And her condition was actually quite bad, which required an open heart surgery.
那她的心脏的情况其实是很严重的，所以需要有开刀。
And so what I hope I can share with you today is how God guided her throughout that process, and how that process has also benefited the faith of my wife and I.
那我今天要分享就是说神怎么带领我们，让她有一个平安的度过，然后因为她的情况，神怎么带领我们更认识她，有信心的体验。
And you can see that she's very active now and very happy, and we really thank God for that.
你可以看到我现在女儿她非常快乐，然后时常的很活泼。
So after she was born, at the 1 month doctor checkup, we brought her to see our family physician.
她生出来了1个月后，我们带她到看我们的家庭医生。
And that's a normal standard checkup. And at that checkup, the doctor, when she was listening to Chloe's heart, she heard some very strange sounding noises.
那当医生听到她的心脏跳的时候，就觉得说她有一些奇怪的声音在她身上。
And the family doctor couldn't really tell what that was, so she referred us to a heart specialist.
因为医生不知道那是什么情况，所以就叫我们去看一个心脏科的医生。
So a few weeks later, we saw the heart specialist, and this time he was able to do an ultrasound of the heart.
那这个心脏科医生有做一个心脏超音波。
And was still unable to figure out what was wrong, but he said it was possible that there was a hole between two of the chambers of the heart.
然后他就说，好像看起来有在心脏里面哪里有洞。
And at that time, he told us that it's very likely that a lot of times these holes are very small, and when the child gets older, the hole will just close up on its own, and it's fine.
那他是说，这种情况下，有时候孩子长大的时候，这个洞就会关起来，自然关起来。
And he said in less common cases, the hole is a little bit bigger, and that requires a kind of a minor operation where it's a catheter-based operation. They just insert a catheter to patch up that hole, and it's not very invasive at all.
他就说，如果这个是比较严重的话，或许我们可以，有一个方式，就是撑一个东西进去他的心脏，然后用那个比较不是开刀的方法，就是让他可以医治他那个洞。
And in very rare cases, would they have to actually open up the heart and do like a bypass surgery?
我真的需要帮忙。catheter 怎么讲？他是说，假如说是真的，最严重的时候才需要说真的开刀心脏来，open heart surgery， 就是说这样子真的打开。
Yeah, and so again, this doctor then referred us to in Toronto we have a hospital called the Hospital for Sick Children, which is the largest children's hospital in Canada.
那在多伦多有一个医院，就是说孩子的医院是那里最大的医院。
Yeah, and so they referred us there. So we ended up going to the Children's Hospital for another examination.
那我们就去特别孩子的医院去再给女儿检查。
And at that time, we were thinking that, maybe God will just allow her heart to heal on its own. We won't have to have any kind of procedure at all.
那我们在想说，或许神就会让她完全医治好，我们连什么动手术啊，还是什么道观都不需要。
And if it's not so good, then at least there's this catheter treatment, and that would be fine as well. The success rate of those is very high.
那或许她的情况也不是那么严重，就是像医生说的那个装个导管进去，然后就可以补她那个洞就可以了。
But when we went to the hospital for sick children, we spent a whole day there, and they did a sedated echocardiogram, which is where they gave Chloe something to make her fall asleep, and then they actually scanned her heart with like a high frequency ultrasound transducer.
去到孩子的医院的时候，他们是用超音波让他们先让他睡着，然后再用那超音波的特别超音波去看他的心脏的情况。
And so this time, and by this time she was only around 2 months old, and this time they could see very clearly what was going on.
现在因为用这样的方式让他可以先睡着，那他们就可以看得非常清楚，说他的情况。
And she was 2 months old around
那
this
时候他
time.
只有2个月大。
And what really kind of shocked us was when the doctor told us that she had large holes, severe holes between the upper two chambers and the bottom 2 chambers.
那我们那时候听到了，就是很惊讶，就是说，因为医生说，其实它是很严重，它有2个很大的洞在上面的心脏的chamber，心房里面中间有2个大洞在上面。
And not only that, she also has something called the pulmonary valve stenosis, which is the valve that controls the flow of blood from one of the ventricles into the circulation system. That valve was severely constricted, so too small.
它好像还有另一个问题很严重，就是说它的那个心门的地方也有分动脉，那里好像有哪里没有门没有就是有问题，
太窄了。So that means that not enough blood would be able to flow to circulation.
那因为这样子门太窄了，所以那个心脏要把血把它输进去的时候就没办法吸入进去，足够的血。
And so this was a problem in addition to those 2 holes, and then finally the doctors observed a strange feature with one of her other valves called the mitral valve.
那心动脉以外还有另一个问题，就是说
there's another valve that controls the flow between I think it's the right atrium and ventricle.
所以这个心动门有一个门，它那里好像又有这个门又开了，也有问题，另一个地方。
Yeah, and so what was strange was normally this valve is supposed to have like 2 leaves, so it opens and closes, but she has 3. She has 3 leaves.
那就是说这个门的地方是应该是通常有2个门这样子一起可以开，可是它不是这样，它是有3个门。
But the doctors at this point were not concerned with this one. They just said it looks strange, but it might be okay.
那医生那时候对这个第3个问题比较没有担心。虽然说是有一点奇怪。
So the main problem were those 2 big holes, and so the doctor said, and we asked them, they said, a catheter is not enough. They have to actually open up her, like stop her heart. They have to open it, and then they have to patch up those 2 holes.
所以他们说，其实最大的问题就是那个2个大洞在他的心脏，所以他们需要 开他的心脏开刀，然后用一个导管进去把这个
It's not catheter.
it's not catheter 不是用导管，他们就是真正是要把它打开，然后去修补这个2个洞。
Yeah, so at this time I think we were quite sad about this news because she's only a few months old, and we just felt really sad that such a young child would have to go through such a severe
那
operation.
当然，作为父母亲，我们听到的时候非常伤心，因为他那么小的孩子，只有2个月，就要面临那么大的心脏开刀。
But at the same time, we also the doctors also told us that this open heart surgery operation, it had a death rate of less than 1%, especially at this hospital, it was much less than 1%.
那好的消息就是说，医生说，在这个小孩子医院，他们做的开刀以后，大概是1%的低于1%的人，就是说。就是99%都是很好，都是有开刀的 success， 就是说有成功率蛮高的。
Yeah, and the doctor that would be performing the surgery was like world renowned. He's the surgeon in chief at the hospital for sick children.
然后帮他开刀的人是一个世界有名的一个医生。
And they were telling us that there were people who would come from the west coast of Canada to Toronto just to have their children operated on by this surgeon.
那他们同时也跟我们说，其实各国地方都会有其他人来专门找这个医生来帮他们开刀。
So at the same time, we felt sad, but also felt that everything should be okay with God's help, with the expertise of the surgeon. Things should be okay.
所以虽然说我们那时候很担心，可是同时我们也觉得说很安慰，就是神有准备了很好医生很好的地方来处理这个心脏开刀。
So by the time Chloe had the surgery, she was 5 months old because the hospital wanted her to grow up a little bit. It makes the operation a little bit easier to conduct.
那医生要等他到5月大的时候才开刀，让他身体再长大一点，他们开刀比较方便。
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing before. So the doctors actually told us that it was kind of they didn't call it a miracle, but they actually said that it was very interesting how Chloe could survive for so long with these 2 giant holes in her heart.
那医生是有讲说，这个真的是很神奇，说他2个那么大的洞，他既然还可以活那么久。
And so usually they say if there were such big holes in her heart, they would have detected it as soon as she was born, or even before she was born.
那其实，假如说心脏有那么大的洞，甚至还没生出来的时候，应该医院早就已经看到了。
And they would have had to operate on her immediately when she was born, and the success rate of that operation would not be as good.
那如果那时候有看到这个事情，其实是一生出来，他们就马上动刀了。那时候的成功率就可能没有像现在的好。
The main problem is that when there's holes between the chambers of the heart, it means that the blood that is supposed to be full of oxygen, that's supposed to go into circulation, some of that blood mixes with the other half, which is blood that has no oxygen, and so the efficiency of the blood of the heart just decreases because the blood that's being pumped into circulation is not full of oxygen.
为什么说心脏有洞是一个那么大的问题？就是说，心房的一房应该是带来新的血有 O2 是就是说氧气，可是因为有洞的话，它现在混到另一个心房的地方，就是说那里的血是没有氧气的，所以2个混合。那因为这样混合的情况下，等于是心脏的效率变得非常低。
And what would normally happen is the blood that goes into the circulation would have a low oxygen amount, and that would hurt the growth of the child, and it can also put their life in danger.
那如果这个血流带的不够这个氧气，然后又流到身体到处的话，这样子会让整个身体没办法成长， 正常的成长。
But that didn't happen with Chloe. Her oxygen saturation level at the tips of her fingers were near 100%.
那这个就是很神奇的地方，因为虽然说他有这2个洞，可是医生发现说他整个身体，包括他的手的地方最远的地方，他的那个血流，每一个血都是很多的充分的氧气。
And her growth was all normal. She was gaining weight just like a normal child.
而且他的成长就是像一般的小孩子很正常，没有什么不一样的地方。
And so what they ended up attributing this to was that pulmonary valve stenosis, that valve that was too small, that was constricted.
那他们就想说，可能这个原因就是因为他有心脏不是有第2个问题，就是说他那个开关房门，房门就是那个新的房门，那个地方不是超小的，就是说让他的出去的血就是比较少，那进来也比较少。
And because of that small valve, that's too small, it causes like a back pressure to build up in the heart that prevents the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood.
那因为这个很小的房门，所以导致说他的那个好的血跟不好的血的那个混合就会比较少，因为有压力的关系。
So what they're saying is that the holes in her heart, which are really bad, actually was kind of the problem of that was helped by the fact that she had this other problem, this pulmonary valve stenosis. And that's why she could actually last till 5 months with no operation.
所以就是很神奇的地方，就是说，虽然它有2个大洞，可是这2个大洞被这个又超小的那个房门，就是2个抵冲吗？抵触，所以就变成说，它可以活到5个月大，还没有有什么大的问题，还可以活着。
Yeah, so we were very thankful to God when we heard about this, about how God was able to preserve Chloe, even though it's kind of like with another thing that is supposed to be a problem, but actually helps.
所以我们真的听到这个时候很感谢神，他用他很奇妙的方式，让第1个问题被第2个问题去把它解化。
By the time of her surgery at 5 months, we were also more confident because by now Chloe was baptized and she was a baptized member of the True Jesus Church.
而且在5个月大的时候，她是已经受洗了，所以我们更有信心说神会照顾她。
So we know that no matter what happens, she would be saved by the Lord.
我们知道说，不管她生还是死，她的生命就已经在神的手中了。
So on the day of the surgery, we brought Chloe to the hospital early in the morning.
而且她可以得救了，所以在当天的开刀的那一天早上，我们带她去医院。
And then the surgeon brought her to the operating room with the team, and they performed open heart surgery on her.
那他们就带她进去开刀房，然后就把她心脏打开。
I actually have a picture here
我这里有一个
of
照片，
this is right a few minutes before the surgery.
就是在开刀以前的几分钟。
Yeah. So she was 5 months old.
那时候只有5个月大。
Yeah. And so so we were waiting there the whole day. By the time the doctors came out to talk to us, it was 8.5 hours after she went in.
他进去了，开刀了8个半小时才出来。
And the doctor told us that the good news is that he was able to patch both the top and bottom holes.
那医生说，他有成功的把上面跟下面的洞都补好了。
And they immediately did an echocardiogram after patching and detected no leaks between those chambers.
那他们马上用一个超音波来看说，发现说对他们那个洞是补得好的。
They also fixed a pulmonary valve stenosis, so they expanded that valve a little bit.
他那个超级小的心门，他有把它 放大一点，让它可以正常的吸收血。
But the bad news was that mitral valve, which had the 3 leaflets, even though it's supposed to have 2, that one was leaking severely.
那这些都好，只是有一个问题，就是说它那个心门有3个叶子的心门，那个现在发现有开始流东西了。
So originally, they thought that was fine; they could just leave it. But it turns out that originally, because of all her other problems, the pressures in her heart were not right, and so they couldn't see anything wrong with this other valve. But now they realize that it actually has a severe leak.
他们本来以为说这个3个小朵心门是没有问题的，可是因为现在产生有一个压力在心脏，所以变成这个门里面开始在有漏东西。
And they tried. So they actually did the bypass 3 times. So that means they stopped her heart 3 times and put her on a bypass machine, opened her heart 3 times because every time they try to fix the valve, they would have to, after fixing it, have to close the heart, do an do an ultrasound to see if it worked or not, and if it didn't work, they would have to open it again. So 3 bypass surgeries. That's why it was 8.5 hours.
bypass。
过搭桥，
好
说成搭桥。
那他们
I don't know.
想要修理这个这个心门，就是这个3个心门的那个地方的时候，他们用了打桥，心脏的打桥，打桥。
Which means they stop the heart. They connect her blood and her lungs to a machine, so the machine would drive her air.
那他们要打桥的时候，他们必须把他的心脏停止，然后让他的血流到那个仪器那然后他们才可以修理。他们做了3次，因为每一次做完的时候就要在超音波再看说有没有做好。就因为这样子，他们修了3次，把他心脏停了3次，才做了8个半小时。
And even after the 3rd try, they couldn't fix the mitral valve.
那做了3次后，还是没办法把它修好。
And at that time, after the 3rd try, the doctor said that he had to evaluate carefully whether he should continue or not, because he felt that he could probably fix it if he had a few more tries, but he wasn't sure if Chloe's body could withstand another attempt.
因为他那时候医生做了3次了，还没办法做好。他那时候担心孩子太小了，不知道可不可以撑得住。他在做第4次，
So he decided to stop.
所以他就决定把它停止。
But it meant that Chloe's situation was more dangerous at that time because of this severe leak.
那虽然就是知道说这个漏的洞就是没办法去修的地方。因为这个心门这里有问题，他就没办法，就是这个也是一个很危机的情况。
I also have a picture. This is Chloe right after the surgery.
就可以看到这个相片，看到说，Chloe 那时候刚开刀完的情况的相片。
Yeah. So I think at that time the feeling we had. And I wrote a journal about this, was that we felt quite shocked, I think. Yeah.
那时候听到这个消息的时候，我们真的是很惊讶。
Because we felt that they had said the success rate was very high. The surgeon was excellent. And we were also praying for her, so that we thought everything would be fine.
我们本来想象的就是说这个医院的成功率那么高，然后第二，这个医生又是那么有名，然后第3，我们大家都有在为他祷告，所以我们就想说，应该一切都是会平安的，没想到说会出了这个问题。
So our faith was shaken a little bit.
那我们的信心就开始动摇了，因为这样子。
But we were praying and hoping that God will provide a way
那我们还是继续祷告，求神的怜悯，让他可以开恩。
So the surgeon's idea was that we would put Chloe in critical care for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then he would operate on her again.
那医生是说，他可以试着让 Chloe 住在加护病房2-3个礼拜后，然后再开刀一次，来看看有没有办法修补这个地方。
To let her body to have some time to recover
因为
before the next open heart
需要
surgery.
他的身体才可以恢复强壮一点。
And I think, at this point, I think there were lessons for me personally too, because I'm also a scientist by training, so I think there's lessons for me from that perspective of being a scientist.
那我觉得说，神允许这个事情发生，是因为神要教导我，因为我自己的我也是学科学的这方面的工作，所以神要用这方面来教导我。
So I am a professor of biomedical engineering at a university in Toronto, and I also am a principal investigator of a lab at this other hospital called St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto.
因为我是一个医药化学
Biomedical engineering.
物理生物工程的生物医学的工程的这方面的一个专家，我也是专门在处理就是管这方面的这种机构的地方职业。
So I actually have a lot of interactions with people in the medical field.
还有因为我的工作性质，我会时常跟很多医生的这些有交流。
So I know that this surgeon is very good because he actually is a research collaborator of one of the people that I work with.
那我也很认识这个医生，这个开刀的医生，因为他也是跟我另一个同工专门做这方面的地方，所以我知道他是很懂事的。
So I think in the back of my mind, and I've talked to other people in my hospital who also say that this surgeon is best. If he's probably the best in Canada, and like this hospital, you can't go to any other better place to have this kind of surgery. Yeah.
我跟了许多人谈过，大家也说这是最好的医院，在整个加拿大，而且这应该是全加拿大的最好的心脏医生。
So I think in the back of my mind, even though we rely on the Lord Jesus, I also felt that everything would be fine because of the expertise of the medical people involved.
所以我在心里的时候就有这个错觉，就是说对啦，当然是我们祷告在靠神，可是我可能我的心里面其实是特别的靠这个医生跟这个医院，然后心里就觉得说应该不会有什么事情发生。
Yeah, and
应该会很顺利。
But I think I was personally really reminded that our lives are really in the hands of the Lord.
那我因为这个事情的发生，我就了解说，我们的每一个人的生命其实都是掌握在神的手里。
And if it was not for the mercies of the Lord Jesus, then we would not be able to do this, and we would not be able to do that.
我们一生一秒可以活着，其实是因为神的恩典，让我们可以撑住我们的生命。
So Chloe was in the critical care unit for about 2 weeks.
那Chloe在加护病房
Sorry, for about a week and a half. Sorry.
在加护病房花了在1个半礼拜。
And during this time, she recovered quite a bit.
那在那时间，她恢复的蛮快了。
But it was decided after about a week and a half that she would have another open heart surgery.
然后就说她要再开第2次的刀。
And so eventually she had the second surgery again by the same surgeon.
然后这个同样的医生会这样帮他开心脏刀。
And this time it was also 8 hours.
这一次也是要开8个小时。
And this time when the doctor came out, he said that he tried his best. He was able to. It still wasn't a success in his opinion, but he was able to reduce the leakage from a category of severe leak to a moderate leak.
那医生觉得说这次开刀不是完全成功，可是最少这个漏的情况可以从可能非常的严重到现在中等的严重的性的情况。
And her life wasn't as risk at all, and so she would be fine. And he was proposing that we just kind of monitor her every few months, getting an echocardiogram every few months, and just wait and see what happens.
然后就让这个Chloe 自然长大，然后每几个月就再去医院再看她的情况。
And thank the Lord, since then we haven't had to have any other surgeries, and we've had regular checkups at this hospital. Originally was every month, and now it's every 6 months.
那感谢神，Chloe 到现在都没有再开第3次的刀，每个月以前去看医院都还好，然后现在就是每6个月就会回去医院看一看。
And every time we go, the doctors would say that she looks great, and that her energy level is just like any other child, and she is growing the way that any other child is growing.
那每一次去看医生的时候，他就说她长得非常的正常活泼，就像其他的孩子长得非常好。
And so they look at her heart, her valve still has a little bit of leakage, but they say it's fine as long as she grows. Then they're very happy about
他
that.
们看了她的心脏，然后看到那个漏，现在漏的速度还是比较少了，没有像以前那么多了。
And so they say that it's kind of amazing how well she can do outwardly, despite the fact that she still has kind of a weaker heart than normal.
他们医生也是觉得说，这个很奇妙，这孩子虽然说都有这样子那么严重的问题，可是他却在外面看起来就是很正常的、活泼的、快乐的小孩。
And can I just like 5 minutes or is that okay? Yeah. So and so I just want to also testify about one other. I guess you would say it's a smaller testimony, but in my mind, I think it's also a very big deal that happened.
那我想要再见证第二个很小的见证，请对不起，还要多用5分钟。
Which was when Chloe was discharged from the hospital after the second operation.
那当 Chloe 第2次从医院回来的时候，开刀回来的时候
At that time, she was still feeding through her nose, so through a tube through her nose, and that's normal. All of the children that have open heart surgeries have to initially be fed through the nose through a feeding tube.
那这是很正常的，因为任何孩子从开刀完的时候，他们吃东西其实是借着一个导管到他的鼻子这样子吃东西进去。
Because initially they're too weak to drink by themselves.
因为他们刚开始他们太软弱，他们没办法自己吞喝。
But the goal is always to get them back to drinking on their own as quickly as possible.
那当然，我们是说让他可以越快可以自己吃喝是最好的。
Because what happens is once a baby gets used to being fed through the tube, they will no longer want to drink through their mouth anymore because it's much easier energetically to drink through to just feed through the nose rather than having to suck on a bottle.
因为我们不要孩子那个 baby 习惯就是说吃食物是从鼻子进去，因为他只要等了太久的话，他已经习惯，他以后就不想再用他的嘴巴去吃喝了。
So there are actually quite a lot of kids that have open heart surgery when they're a baby who end up having a feeding tube even until they're 5 or 6 years old because they just can't get out of this feeding tube.
其实也有很多孩子因为有开过心脏病的刀的人。因为他们没有快一点把他就是换了这个习惯，结果到5、6岁还是继续的在 用笔管这样子在吃食物
And so we always try to feed
的
her.
坏习惯。
We always try to feed her with a bottle, but the doctors told us that we cannot take the feeding tube out because she never drinks very much with the bottle because she was so tired all the time. And so we would feed her a little bit, and then they say the rest we'd have to use the feeding tube to feed her.
那我们有试着就是说给他吃奶瓶，可是他不是从奶瓶喝很多，他还是继续的用鼻道管在喝他的奶。
And so even the day that we were discharged, the hospital would not let us take the feeding tube out because they're worried that she would not get enough nutrition.
所以那一天我们要从医院回来的时候，医院还是不想把他的鼻管拿掉，因为担心说他没有办法喝牛奶。
And so the first week after we got home, the whole week we were feeding her through the feeding tube. Even at church, we had to find a way to feed her through the feeding tube.
所以第一个礼拜回来的时候，甚至去教会的时候，我们也是找办法让他的那个奶可以借着鼻道管来喝。
And this is not good long term because they develop speech problems as well, and also it's just the feed. It's easy to get the tube could be contaminated very easily. It's difficult to just go places with something like
那
that.
鼻道管其实是一个很不好的习惯，因为鼻道管会感染会脏，然后包括说他学习讲话也会影响到他讲话的那个成长率。
And so at that time, I think that was also a lesson that God had for me as a worker, a church worker.
那神也是在用这个情况来训练我，因为我是教会的一个工人。
And so at that time, I was the religious affairs of Toronto Church.
那时候我是教务在多伦多教会。
And it was the end of the year, and it was the end of my second year, so my term was coming to an end.
这是刚好年底，所以我的服侍的义工已经快要结束了。
And I had told the ministers and the local preacher that, I can't, I'm going to withdraw my name from the next election because I can't do this, with Chloe the way that she is, and then I also have a full-time job. I can't spend any time doing church work anymore. It's just impossible.
跟传道还有植物园说，我下一次没办法再做这个义工了，因为我自己有女儿的事情，还有包括我需要上班。那因为这样子，我们没有很多时间可以做圣工。
And I remember one morning the preacher just called me when I was at home, and he was just telling me, he was encouraging me, saying that God may not choose you to do anything for him, but our attitude should always be to leave it in the hands of God.
所以我那时候有请他们，就是说直接把我的名字拿掉，不要放在那个单子上面。那我记得有一天早上，那个传道就直接打电话给我说，虽然说我们不知道到时候人家会不会选举的时候选到你，可是你不应该自己把你的名字先拿掉。
He was saying that, just leave your name in there and let God make the decision. You don't have to decide this for yourself.
你应该是把这个决定放在神的手中，你就名字留在那里，然后看神要怎么做，不是你自己由你来做决定。
And I remember telling the preacher that, I'll think about it, but I think it's impossible. There's so much work that's involved with taking care of Chloe. She has this feeding tube. We have to clean it every time we do it. We have to be very careful about how much we put in and so on. I just can't imagine having to do that plus church work.
我那时候就想说，虽然说我跟传道答应说我会放在祷告中，可是我心里就想说，这真的太难了，因为每一次喂他的时候，我们又要把他清那个鼻道管，然后又要花好多时间照顾这个孩子，我根本没有办法去做什么圣工。
So that very night, when Chloe was already sleeping, my wife and I were still up. Suddenly, we heard Chloe crying in her room.
当天晚上， 孩子在睡觉的时候，我太太跟我还没睡，那突然间我们听到Chloe 开始哭了。
And when we went inside, we saw that she had pulled out the feeding tube on her own.
我们发现说她自己把她的鼻道管直接拉出来了。
And so that's why she was crying. And the hospital had taught me how to put it back in. And I actually tried it once in the hospital, how to insert the feeding tube back through her nose into the stomach.
那医院那时候有教过我有试过一次，就是说如何把那个鼻道管拿出来，说要再怎么放回去，让这个管直接可以再通到她的肚子里面。
But at that time, my wife Edelyn and I just had a thought that maybe this is God's way of working with us, helping us.
那我就试着说想要再把它放回去，可是那时候我太太跟我就想说，或许这是神的作为，就是要让我们不要以后再继续为他用这个鼻道管。
And I was reminded of what the preacher was telling me that morning. Not to make the decision to withdraw on your own, but just let God be the one that decides.
就记得说传道那一天早上，我勉励我说，把一切的决定权放在神的手中，不是自己就把名字拿掉的事情。
So we decided we kneel down and pray, and our prayer was just to ask God to help us, to help Chloe, and we'll leave things in the hands of God, and I will not withdraw my name from the nomination. We'll just follow His will, but we ask Him to help us. And if it's His will for me to continue to serve, then help us so that we have the ability to serve, so that we don't have so much that we have to do with Chloe at home.
那我们两个就跪下来祷告，然后求神怜悯我们，求神让这个 Chloe 可以好起来。如果今天神要我真的为他做工的时候，让他可以让我们生活比较简单，让这个 Chloe 的情况也会好转，让我们有多时间可以侍奉神。那我们是跟神说，我们愿意把这个一切的问题就直接放在你手里，让你去做这个决定。
And so from that time on, we just didn't insert the tube back in, and every time we fed Chloe, the other one of us would just be kneeling down and praying next to them.
所以从那天开始，我们每一次就试着用奶瓶喂他，那一个父母就会直接喂他，那另一个父母就会跪下来祷告。这就是我们从那天开始做的喂他的方式，一个祷告，一个喂他。
And so, and she did great. She ended up drinking much better time after time, and when the nurse from the hospital also came to visit us a few times afterwards, and said that Chloe was doing great. There was no need for us to put the feeding tube back into her.
所以真的很感谢神，因为这样子神就带领我们，然后我们就不需要再继续用那个鼻道管，我们就直接都是这样子用食物，那他吃的就越来越多，越来越好。
And so that's kind of this. I think So there was two main lessons that I personally gained. One was, this related to doing the work of God, and how God will never give us too much that we cannot handle. And if He wants us to do work for Him, then He will also take care of the other aspects of our life, so that we have the capacity to do work for Him.
所以我真的自己深深的学习到说，我们的掌权都是在神的手中。那今天他只要我们服侍他，我们就要有信心依靠他，他一定不会给我们超过我们可以担当的重担。
And from the other aspect, like I said before also, were these lessons that I learned from a person who is a scientist, that, even though, we rely on science a lot, ultimately the things of our life are dictated by God.
第二个我所学习到就是说，虽然说我自己是一个科学家，我依赖了科学，我不应该依赖科学超过依赖神，因为其实每一个人的生活的生命都是在神的掌权中。
And He's the one who really gives us life.
那他才是给我们生命的主。
And He's the one that is able to comfort us, to give us peace, and give us joy.
只有他可以撑住我们的生命，给我们安慰，给我们喜乐，给我们平安。
This concludes my testimony. May all glory and honor be unto the name of the Lord Jesus.
愿一切荣耀归主耶稣的名。哈利路亚。